Hey Raindrops, now before we get into this video, I want to talk to you about joining my community. Yes, my YouTube community of subscribers. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. It helps build the channel and build our community. I love it when you guys comment and post. So remember, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel.
All right, all right. Now we are here tonight with the one and the only, okay? Nicole Handy, who is the realtor and co-owner of Braden Real Estate Group, and star of the show, one of the stars of the show, Family Empire Houston, new to the OWN Network and the Kingdom Reign Entertainment family. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Reality with the King, Nicole. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, yes. We're thank you. Okay. We should be thanking you because what
Really?
you are, oh, Nicole, what you all have brought to the landscape of reality TV with this show, right? Family Empire Houston and sharing the story of generational wealth building and just a strong black family unit out of Houston, Texas. That is new and fresh. Believe it or not, as many of those people as we know, right, who have these strong families that have had some sort of entrepreneurial success is fairly new to the landscape of reality TV and it's refreshing, right? So
Yeah.
thank you all for bringing that to us.
Thank you. We have. I'll be honest. We have grown to love the space, right? I mean, once
Yeah,
the show aired and dropped, you never know like how it's going to be received, what people
yeah,
are going to give you, what people are going to think. And I have literally been overwhelmed with love and support since it
yes.
actually dropped. I'm one of those people like I want to reply to everybody. I want to tell everybody thank you. I always want to show my gratitude as much as possible, but I'm having a hard time keeping up because it's just so much. And I know I speak for us all when I say we are so grateful and thankful for that.
Yeah, you can tell it is like I said, it's a refreshing offering to the reality TV landscape, and you can tell the authenticity is really what shines through, right? It's a real family. These are real
Mm-hmm.
relationships, real. There's a friendship, a cord of friendship that exists beyond just the familial relation, right?
Yeah,
You know, your
yeah,
cousins and your friends, your sister cousins, your sisters, you know, and you all have relationships as adults. So you can see that. And it's just
yeah.
refreshing, excuse me, to the landscape. So we happy to have you all, Nicole. We're
Thank
happy to
you,
take a
thank
break and
you,
get to
thank
know
you.
all you guys. Now talk to me about just the backstory, right? Like the family element, because this is a show, it's literally called Family Empire, right?
Yeah.
So the tie that binds here is the family. Talk to me a little bit about your branch on the braiding tree, right? Like how many siblings do you have in total, Nicole?
So I have two siblings.
Okay.
You guys see on the show, one of them we have the same mother and father, and then one of them, Lakeisha, we have different mothers. So
Okay.
I have two siblings. I'm the oldest of the
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
and I think things come with being the oldest, of course, right? But yeah, I'm the oldest of the two, and my dad, I'm connected to the Braid family on my dad's side. So my dad is a Braden. He's the son of my grandmother who you see on the show, and my grandfather who is deceased.
Yeah. So I love too how you guys have designated the members of the family according to their G or their generation. So like your dad would be a G1 according
Yeah,
to
so we say
yeah.
my grandmother is the OG,
Yes, yes.
and my her children are the G1s. We are the second generation, so G generation one, generation two. My generation, we're the second generation, and our children are the G3s.
Yeah. I think it's just so dope to see all that, to see these generations of the same family, the differences, the similarities, right? The things that make you all alike and the things that make you all different. So on
Yeah.
this show, though, it focuses on yourself, your sister cousin, right? Jermisha
Mm-hmm.
is also a co-owner of Braden Real Estate Group with you. And then your other sister cousin, Jaquita, who is sisters
Uh-huh.
with Jermisha, and your sisters, Monet and Lakeisha, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who are we not seeing on the show, right? Because this obviously with a family this big and ties that are connected like that, I know you got homies and other family members who may be elected to not participate in the show. So what can you tell us about who we're
You
not
know what?
as a part
Our
of it?
core family, you pretty much see all of the G1s. You don't see my dad as much, right? He's in the
Okay.
show, but you see him, but you don't really see him.
Okay.
All of the G2s are in the show except for my aunt Charlotte has a daughter. Her name is Brooklyn, and they're a little bit younger, right? So we have a couple of G2s that are younger than us, like the college age, just graduated from college. You really
Okay.
don't see much of them. I'm hoping you see them more next season,
Yeah.
but you really don't see much of them. So that would be my Aunt Charlotte's daughter. Her name is Brooklyn. And then Nikki has a daughter. Her name is Ryan. And then also Cody, Nikki's son, Cody. So Cody has autism. So
Okay.
he is he's nonverbal, shall I say.
Yeah.
He's not completely, and I want to say he's not completely not verbal, but his words are limited, but he understands amazing, like,
Yeah.
and he's just a joy to interact with and be with, but you really don't see a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, shout out to that young man and his special journey. We wish him much success along the way like that. And one thing we know based on the past 4 episodes that we've seen of Family Empire Houston is that he's got support because you are
Absolutely,
a family
absolutely,
unit
yeah.
for sure. So we
He's
love to
got
see that.
a lot of support, and a lot of love. And I think you see that amongst all of us. It's a lot of support, it's a lot of love. We're a real family though, I
Yeah.
mean, it's I don't I people use the word perfect this and perfect that, and it's so crazy because there are some parts of the trailer where you see the conversation getting heated and things like
Yeah.
that. And like people will literally call and be like, you guys actually argue as a family? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
we're a real family. Like, I don't know any family that's perfect, that doesn't have disagreements, that doesn't have arguments, that, might not always get along. We're a real family. But I think what sets us apart and what I feel like makes us unique is that no matter what the challenge is, nothing for us is bigger than the family.
Yeah.
You know?
You can tell that even through scenes like I don't really want to jump too far ahead in our
I
conversation,
know.
but even through scenes like where you guys were sitting down discussing, you all were having a conversation, we'll say it like that, and you told your cousin, that may not be, I'm gonna be your cousin, but that could possibly be a different spouse filling that space one day. Hopefully not, but maybe there could eventually. But the thing that's not going to change is the fact that we're cousins. So I
Well,
think that, yeah, that reflects that, right?
yeah, well, they left a little bit of that out too. So it's more to that. Yeah, and it's on
Okay.
the show though. So what I was reiterating with that is, make sure you prioritize your husband as well, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll be your family no matter what. No matter what I do to you, I'm always going to be your cousin, right?
Yeah.
But that may not always be your husband. So you want to make sure you keep him as your husband. So prioritize him. Don't always feel like you have to put the family over your husband. So in that aspect, that's what I was meaning. But yeah, honey, they ate that up on the trailers.
They
On the
did.
capture, and that part I had to do some explaining about that. Okay,
Yeah.
that little
Yeah.
comment. I'm like, wait, there's more. Wait a minute.
You had to do a little damage control,
I had to
Nicole.
do a little damage control with that one.
Yeah, and that what a great introduction, right, to the world of reality TV and how
Yeah.
sometimes what we utter can be, perceived differently than our intentions, right? And I think that's a
What you
great
mean? What you mean? Sometimes.
already you understanding that lesson, huh,
Yeah.
Nicole?
Yeah, and
That's
I watch
cool.
reality TV a little different now too.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was not shown, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had like ambitions or desires to work in TV or entertainment before? And I'm asking because I think one of the major takeaways, right, that the fans, because people are definitely watching you guys,
Mhm.
and I think one of the major resounding takeaways that I've seen is just your preparedness for this space, right? Even down to like your fashion choices and the way that you show up. We're loving it. The fans are eating it up
Thank you.
and
But
you seem like a
no,
natural.
no, no, that's just me.
Yeah,
No, to be honest, I never aspired to be on TV. Like, honestly, I could have never imagined this in
yeah,
my wildest dreams.
yeah,
Like, I was just, I want to be good at what I do. I want to be the best at what I do. I want to be the top. I want to be a top producing realtor. I want to be the best at my craft. I never thought it would be turned into like what you see today. Like, I did not aspire today. What you see on TV is me. Like, that's
yeah,
how I
yeah,
show up to work every day. I think even when we were in casting, one of the casting directors was like, "Hey, do you really like get glammed up like this every day?" I was like, "Most days, yeah,
yeah,
this is me, But no,
yeah,
we never. I don't think, and I think I speak for everybody in my family when I say we never ever dreamt this. Even when we didn't even take Carlos serious when he was like, I want to do a show with you ladies. We were like, okay. Like everybody said, you do? Like, okay. But no, we never in our wildest dreams, we never imagined anything like this.
yeah. So I think that brings us to our next point, which is how all this came about, right? Because it seems like it was made for television. Your cousins and your sister and yourself, you all have dynamic personalities. um, um, great careers, beautiful aesthetics. You all are beautiful women, a
Thank
beautiful
you.
Black family. So, how did you all end up being associated with Kingdom Reign Entertainment and the OWN network? And how did Family Empire Houston come to be?
Yeah, so I believe that we are a dominant force in the Houston real estate industry. You know, Brayton Real Estate Group does have a name here in the Houston industry. And so a publicist approached us and he was
Yes.
like, hey, you know, I see what you guys are doing. I think you'd be great for a reality show. And again, you know, it's so far few and in between. Like I feel like we hit the
Hmm.
lotto, right?
Hmm.
You know, and so we were like, okay, you know, he was like, I want to try to work with you guys and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, you know, we'll go along with it. You know, we'll
Yeah.
go along with it. And so he brought in a writer or someone who like writes a pitch to tell our, you know, just to kind of
Hmm.
interview us, our family dynamic and things like that. But really more so it was his angle was the business, the real estate
Hmm.
business. But the more they got to know us, they were like, whoa, 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 you guys have a great family dynamic as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it went from just the real estate business to where you guys have a great family dynamic. Your grandparents are great. At the time when this all happened, my grandfather was still very much so alive and active and
Wow.
alive. So, you know,
Okay.
like your grandparents are great. You know, there is a mixture of, you know, relatability. You know, Nicole, you have a sister from, you know, where you don't have the same mom. You know, all of us had, I think all of us had, we were so unique.
Yeah.
You know, so when they really wrote the pitch and the publicist, I don't know how he got it in front of Carlos's face, you know, but he called us and he's like, you guys have got the attention of Carlos King. And we're like, oh, what? You know,
Yeah.
and he's like, Carlos wants to meet with you guys. And I'm telling you, we did not take it serious until Carlos' face popped up on that screen.
Yeah.
Because mind you, this was during COVID, right? So it was no in-person meetings. Everybody was on
Oh,
Zoom.
yep.
And so, you know, we were going through the motions, but we were like, this is too good to be true. This can't be
Yeah.
true, you know. And then, sure enough, honey, the king
I made it
popped up on
happen.
the screen,
Okay.
and we were like, oh, okay, maybe this is for real. And it's
Yeah.
been kind of like history ever since. Like, I didn't think it would take, you know, we didn't know how TV worked. So we
Yeah.
didn't think it would take 2 or 3, almost 3 years to cultivate it, you
The
know. And
development
so we were getting
process.
time like, man, they BSing us, you know, but you
Yeah.
know, we didn't understand like it's a long process. So, but here we are, you know, here we
Yeah.
are. I mean, he did what he said he was gonna do. I gotta give the man credit for that.
I love the fact that that's how this story kind of began, right? Because I think some of the greatest what we've all loved and people who watch reality TV, what we love is the authenticity of it, right? You can tell the
Yeah.
difference immediately from a television personality who kind of wanted that spotlight or prepared themselves so they think for the spotlight versus a real
Yeah.
story, a real family, real issues, real success, real happiness, real jokes, real humor, all those things that make it the real deal. So I actually love this origin story, and it makes
Thank
me love this show even
you.
more now that I know this is really just a glimpse into you all's world. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so to again, you know, the Kingdom Reign world and the own reality world has very passionate, very connected fans, right, of your work, and they watch this show and they have something to say, right?
Oh yes. Oh
Yes, and
yes,
a lot
they
of
do.
people love how you're showing up in this show. And I think that people have misconstrued that as you being prepared for the moment, so to speak. But to clear that up, you can let everyone know today that no, this is
No,
100%.
that is
Yeah.
100% who like a lot. Even like everybody talks about my fashion. Majority of those things were in my closet.
Yeah.
You know, like we didn't go like let's go shopping for the show. Of course, we picked out some pieces here and there, or like when we had
Yeah.
to do special things. But majority of those things were in my closet. You know, like to be honest, if you want to be 100% truthful, I was very guarded when the
Yeah.
cameras came around. You know,
Yeah.
and I think some of that kind of maybe shows on TV as well. This is my first time doing it, just like the rest of us. So, you know, Carlos made a joke. He was like, Nicole quit the show 3 times. It wasn't three, but it was indeed one for sure. You know, I'm like,
Okay.
screw y'all, you know. So it did take some me getting used to having that around, you know. So I feel like yeah, like I said, it just took some used to me getting around. I mean, getting used to having all these cameras in my life and like
Yeah.
not knowing the true intent because I'm like, they got a job to do, just like, you know, I have a job to do, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. You understood the business of it.
Right.
Um, Do you think that as you navigate like this filming experience, do you think anything about it has changed you in any way thus far?
I mean, you know, when you're on TV, you're forced to talk about things, or you may be asked to do things you may not be as comfortable with, right? But they are your reality, you know? And
Yeah,
so it has forced me to share some things that I probably would not have shared.
yeah.
You know, for example, like in the show, I talk about how I walk on eggshells around Keisha,
Hmm.
you know, my sister Lakeisha, and I had never shared that before. You know, but
Hmm.
that has been my truth for years, you know, and not because she did anything wrong, but it's just, you know, I always felt like that, you know, I had to be careful about what I said or what I did
Yeah.
around her because she was so delicate, and I didn't want to do anything that could hurt her feelings or, you know, make her feel a certain type of way or something like that. So, you know, I never, even my aunts, when they watched the show, they were like, we never knew you felt like that, you
Wow.
know.
Yeah.
So that there are some moments where I was forced to talk about some things that made me uncomfortable, which you will see. Trust me, whole honey, trust me, you will see. You know,
Okay.
but it's also what I also learned is that it made me learn how to be more of an advocate for myself too.
For
You
sure.
know, and I think I was holding in a lot of things and not expressing how things made me feel as a result of trying not to hurt somebody else, but that was hurting me. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that, and I thought I was actually really impressed by the bravery overall. You know, black families. I have three other siblings, so I come from a family of four. My parents have been married for 54 years.
That
We,
is
yeah, like
amazing.
so the family structure element, I know all too well those dynamics and the melting pot essentially that can become.
Yes.
And so I thought it was really brave that you all shared, some things that were really personal, you know what I mean, on this
Yeah.
show that typically as black people we kind of shroud in secrecy amongst our family.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought it was really brave of you guys to illuminate was your relationship with your sister Lakeisha, right? You guys told a story that you and your sister Lakeisha were the same age, essentially you were a little older than her, and there was a disconnect because of that in your relationship and because you all were raised essentially in different homes. So talk to us a little bit about just kind of the origin story of your relationship with your sister Lakeisha. What can you tell us today about how you were introduced to the fact that Lakeisha was your sister?
You know, honestly, we were so young, and you know, we've
Hmm.
had this conversation amongst all of us. Nobody really remembers. You
Yeah,
know, we were all very small children, so I don't remember how I met her. I can't tell you the day I met her, but I can say that I have always known that she's my sister.
your
She was my
sister.
sister. You
That's
know,
right.
growing up, that has never been a secret or anything. I have always known that she is my sister, and she has always been in our lives. You know, in whatever form of fashion. You know, she's always been in our lives. So, you know, I'll be honest, and when I read, I know people have to do their job, but like when I read some of
Hmm.
these things, you know, a lot of times they refer to Lakeisha and I as being estranged sisters.
And
You
you're
know, and so
not
I had to go
estranged.
like, wait a minute, let me go read the definition of estranged again to make sure my definition, my understanding is correct, right? Because we were absolutely not estranged. You
Yeah.
know, we've always been in each other's lives, you
So
know.
you guys have always been in consistent relationship with one another. Like growing
Right,
up,
yeah.
she came around. How
Yeah,
often did you see
not
Lakeisha
like
growing up?
right, absolutely. You know, I mean, like we played basketball. You know, our basketball teams used to play each other in, you know,
Yeah,
in middle school and high school. You know, like I've always known that she was my sister. We've always claimed each other as sisters. You know, we've
yeah,
always been in each other's lives. Yeah,
yeah. I think that again, that's just a very personal situation, right?
it is. Yeah,
And it's sensitive because there's
it
feelings
is. As
involved.
you can see, honey, I'm very sensitive about it.
Very, as you should,
Yeah,
because I'll go to war about my sister and my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I totally get it. Um, what do you think? So we saw dialing back a little bit. We saw a moment where you were eating some crawfish that looked good at your
yeah,
cousin Jaquita's house. And we saw that she cracked a joke, lighthearted in spirit, but she referenced a wall essentially
yeah.
between you and your sister, which based on what you all have so graciously shared with us thus far, right? We can sense where that may have come from. But what do you think triggered you in that moment, Nicole, that made you have a reaction in that manner?
Because like if you go further into it, like I told my husband, like Jaquita and Jamisha grew up with us,
Yeah,
right? And so I'm trust me, when people see stuff on TV, that's not the first time stuff has come to light.
for
By the
sure.
time the
For
story gets to
sure.
TV, it's been a story, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
now we're airing it on TV. So I did feel like that there was some. I mean, Jaquita and Jamisha understand the sensitivity with Lakeisha and I, and just some of the things that's happened in the past, our relationship as
Mm-hmm.
sisters, and so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't appreciate the joke. Now, let me tell you something. That was very real,
Mm-hmm.
because Jaquita they've never made a joke like that before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll be honest, I was kind of a little taken back, like, okay, you want to pick a time to joke now?
Yeah.
Like, while
Yeah.
all these cameras are here,
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate it. I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, listen, real relationships heal and they come back from small disagreements and things like that. That's it. So we knew that it was just a
We were
momentary
good 2 days
reaction.
later, like that
Yeah.
never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the dynamic of our family. I think that one, too, we're human. We may do
Yeah.
things that upset one another, but we're also big enough to say we were wrong and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
or I didn't mean it like that, or girl, you tripping, get over it, whatever the case may be, and that's
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about our family is that we don't stay mad long. We get mad, honey,
Yeah.
we get mad now, but we don't
Naturally.
stay
Yeah.
mad long,
Yeah.
and again, the family is bigger than whatever that was.
Yeah. I think that's incredible. And I think one thing the fans appreciated is the fact that your goal overall, you and your sister Lakeisha both had very open hearts when you discussed,
Thank you. Yeah.
shaping or reimagining maybe what your connection is today, right?
Yeah.
What kind of evolution would you like to see, or will we see, progress as the episodes go on? What is the evolution or the end goal in your relationship with your sister Lakeisha?
I want to feel a couple of things. One, I want to have a
Mhm.
better line of communication because I'm
Yeah,
just like, hey, if you felt like there was a wall, how you what how come it never came to me?
yeah,
But at the same time, I had never told her I feel like I walk on eggshells around you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I want to have a better line of communication, and I want everybody to be at peace.
yeah.
I want everybody to be at peace with the family dynamic that will never change.
Yep.
You
And
know?
I think that speaking of the family dynamic never changing, I thought it was really interesting that although we saw that you and your sister Lakeisha expressed that you wanted, to see a next phase of your relationship, everybody still held it down for her in the moment where you all felt like you needed to have her back. And that moment is referenced in your meetup at, I believe it was your cousin's husband's performance, right? You guys
Uh-huh.
had a conversation and you met up with your sister's partner Caramel, her girlfriend Caramel, and you guys basically let her know, like, look, we didn't like that shit the way it went down when our sister's mom passed, and you did
Yeah.
it to her. I love
Yeah.
that because it represented the unity that you guys have as you're figuring things out. That's still your sister, and
One
that's
hundred
still your
percent. That
cousin's
you know how
cousin.
it's one of
Yeah,
those things. Like I can talk about my family member, but
but
you
you
bet not open
cannot.
your mouth. You can't. And that's the dynamic of us. Like
Yeah,
we'll always have each other's back. And and don't get me wrong, we're never. I personally don't think we're ever mean or rude to somebody else that comes in
yeah,
the family. The husband's the coin
yeah,
that's surviving the break thing.
yeah,
you know, but I don't think we're ever rude or mean. Or like I said on the show, I think we're a very inviting family. A lot of people come around us and they feel like they're our extended cousins. My grandmother has fed the world, and I literally
yeah,
mean especially if you live on Homestead,
yeah,
Homestead where she lives. But but it is. Hey, this is a family, and you do something to hurt my family member, you're gonna hear from me.
You got to deal with it.
Yeah, you
Talk
got
to
to
us
deal with
about
it.
that, Nicole. Talk to us about that moment where, sadly, and again, we've sent it, no matter how long it's been or whatever, we want to send much love to your sister, Lakeisha, as she navigates grief. I'm sure the
Yeah.
loss of a mother is unspeakable. Um, Talk to us about that incident where her ex was calling her phone to offer condolences, and the way that Caramel responded to that moment. What was it about her response to that incited you all to kind of rally, like, wait a minute, damn it, now
Yeah.
what's going on
Well,
here?
I think, in my personal opinion, I can't imagine what it's like to have a mother pass because my mother has never
Right,
passed. But
right.
at the same time, I don't want to ever imagine,
No, God forbid.
and I can't imagine how that would even feel just a little bit, you know.
Yes.
So to be sitting in the moment knowing that my mother just died less than 24, 48 hours ago, the last thing I want to do is to have to explain or try to defend myself, or, you know, in my moment of I mean, immense grief, you
Yes.
know. And so I believe there's a time and place for everything. And if, you know, whatever's going on in their relationship, if Caramel had a right to be upset, that's her right to be upset, right?
Right.
But I just don't think that that was the time and place to address it. But I'll be transparent, I wasn't actually there when it
Okay.
happened, you know.
Okay.
I was just told that it happened, and
Who told
how
you,
the family
Nicole?
didn't like it at all, right?
Who told you,
I-
Nicole?
who
How did
you
you get
think
back
told me? Who
there?
you think told me? Who you think told me? If you had to take a guess,
On Nikki.
Jaquita.
Jaquita was the one who told you.
I think it was Jaquita, Quita or Misha, one of them. You know, but
Okay.
no, you know, this is like, hey, you know, we rock with you, but we're not rocking with you like that because we got to get something off our chest. You
Yeah.
know, and it had been held on too long. So I was like, let me just tell you, like, you know, because Carol was indicating that she felt bad energy and things like that, and she's an
Yeah.
energy person, which I respect. You know, everybody has, you know, different vibrations or energy and things like that. But I'm like, this may have been why. You know,
Yeah.
and if you look in the grand schemes of things, that was 2 years ago. She's never had the opportunity to speak on it, defend herself, even though most of the family still feels like that. I don't care what the explanation is, you know, that
Yeah.
wasn't the time or
It
place, but
wasn't
she's never had
appropriate.
the opportunity or been given the opportunity to that. And to be honest, we didn't know much about her until I opened up and told her, you know, that, hey, this is what's been going on.
Yeah. Uh, um, I think anybody would kind of share that same sentiment, right? When it's a loved one dealing with the loss as sensitive and raw
Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
loss of your mother at that time, you know, I definitely would be in protective mode as well. I'm the youngest of my siblings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tear a bear down over my siblings, so I
Yeah. I mean, and
totally
we,
get it.
yeah, and I think we have to understand that unfortunately Caramel had feelings too, and her feelings
Yeah.
were hurt too. It was something, an action that caused her feelings to be hurt as well. But it's just, you know, the emotional intelligence of it all. I
Yeah.
felt like there was a time and place for the rebuttal.
What do you think, or how do you feel, I should say, about your Aunt Nikki's role? Now, we all know Aunt Nikki is y'all's homegirl, right? She's a G 1.5, right? She's right in the middle of the ones and
Yeah.
the twos. And obviously, she's a little bit closer in age to you and your cousins and your
Hmm.
sister than the rest of the G1s. How did you feel about Aunt Nikki's role in the whole situation with your sister Lakeisha and her actually inviting Lakeisha's ex to reach out at that time?
I didn't think anything of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know, that's what you do. I always thought kind of that's what you do. Hey, you know, we know that you had a close
Yeah.
relationship. There was a loss. You might want to send your condolences. You know, I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't think she had any malicious intent. And again, I just think that kind of goes back to, you know, just care about not knowing the dynamics of our family. But you know, I mean, to be honest, if my mother died, I'm sure be a couple of exes calling me to reach out, you know, and give
Oh,
me
for sure.
condolences. You know, yeah.
For sure. Do you all still have like a relationship with it with your sister Lakeisha's ex, or
No, no, no,
what's
no,
the history with
no.
that
You cut them off,
situation?
we cut them off. Like, you know,
Okay.
but our relationship stems from the family first. Whatever the family wants us to do. If
Yeah.
Lakeisha was cool with it and still brought her around, then we would still embrace her. But the fact that
Yeah.
she doesn't, that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
For sure. What do you think? Because Jaquita has had me, just full of transparency, Jaquita has had me rolling the entire 4 episodes. All of you all are funny in your own way. But Jaquita has obviously kind of stepped to the front as the comedic relief of the shows thus far.
Hmm.
Everybody's funny, but Jaquita is on a mission, right? What do you think she meant when she mentioned in her confessional scenes that, well, we know our sister, we know our cousin Lakeisha, and we know, she can be on her whatever, what do you think she meant when she was referencing Lakeisha's like dating habits or her prowess in her dating pool? Because she kind of made it seem like Lakeisha might have been on a little bit of her player shit, you know what I'm saying? And maybe
I
that could
mean,
have been, like, yeah,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? She was out there doing a thing. You know, she was
yeah,
single, she young,
beautiful,
single,
yeah,
cute. You know, I
yeah,
got it going on. So, you know,
yeah,
I guess I'm gonna say she was in her I got it going on era, and we gonna leave it
yeah.
at
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Now, what's going on with Caramel and the family today? Like, how do you feel about Caramel's connection with you guys? Has she assimilated a little bit more into the Braden the Braden mix, or are you guys still on the path of like getting to know Caramel a little bit better?
I think she has gotten, and I think the show helped with it actually. Though I think she has
Yeah,
gotten more assimilated with the break mix. And like we expressed, like our Nikki was telling the truth. She's like, I barely even know that you're there.
yeah,
Not being malicious, but that she did used to just come and sit there and look around and like I don't know who to
yeah,
say what to. And
yeah.
I think that the show has helped her open up to us more and vice versa.
I think that's incredible. I also was impressed with the relationship or the dynamic between you and Jaquita's husband, Chris, right? Because like when you came over to discuss, it's a lot going on in there, right? Well, it's a lot of texture, which guess what? That's what makes reality shows
Yeah.
great, right? And the fact that you guys can kind of figure out how to navigate your path with one another with the undercurrent of familial love is what makes
Hmm.
it safe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it looked like there's a friendship amongst you and Chris, right? When there was a playful banter, like a little bit of you walked in and you was like, I came to see my favorite cuz, and he had a little witty retort, you know what I'm saying, in that moment. So obviously Chris is y'all's homeboy, right? Like
Yeah.
y'all get
Yeah.
along.
Yeah.
So what has the experience been like? How did Chris come on board at Braden Real Estate Group? Let's start there.
So Chris picked up a hobby like
Okay.
years ago, earlier on when he first got into the family. He picked up a hobby of photography and videography,
Okay.
and it went from, hey, I'm taking pictures to, oh, dang, you're really good at this.
Yeah.
You're really good at this. And it kind of started like how Chris and I's relationship. Everybody to say that me and Chris act like brother and sister,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
It
can
was a
see
point in
that.
time like I had to correct somebody because people thought Chris was my husband. Like
Yeah,
people,
okay.
we would get on Instagram and be like, and I'm like, no, that's not my husband. My husband is the big guy.
Yeah.
Um, but it started off as a hobby for him, and he just evolved and got really good at it. And of
Hmm.
course, every business needs, marketing and branding is a huge part of a
Yeah.
business. And so we're a
Yes.
business, and so he fit the business need. And of course, we would definitely much so rather give the business, if we're going to pay salaries and things like that, we would definitely much so rather give the business to somebody in our family than, somebody that we don't know. Because I will say this about Chris, he protects Braden like no other. Like
Yes.
it is his baby, and he'll even tell us like, y'all know, you didn't do that right, or that doesn't look good, and sometimes his delivery might not be always be the best, right? But his intentions are always good, so nobody gonna have your back like your family,
Nobody.
and nobody's gonna look out for your best interest like your family. Not work. It does come with challenges, right? Working
Yeah.
with family, it does. It
Yeah.
comes with challenges, but in the grand schemes of things, like he had a great skill set. He has a great talent. We had and still have a business need, and so it just kind of the partnership just kind of made sense.
I love that. And I also love that you highlighted that he cares and he's protective of Braden Real Estate Group, right? Because that affects the output, right? What he comes
Yeah,
to you by.
absolutely. Sometimes I'm like, do you own the company? Like,
Yeah.
he's very protective of the Brayton brand, let me say that, and the way we look and our image and the way we're put out there to the world. It's funny because we just had a conversation about it today, just being transparent, something he didn't like on the show. He was like, y'all
Okay.
should have fixed that before you start filming, but
Yeah.
I'm like, Chris, I get it. I get
Yep.
it.
I love that. And you can tell because just from the preview of some of the assets that we saw that you guys featured on the show, he does good work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of the things that you see in terms of like photos, past
Mm-hmm.
videos, that is all Chris.
All
And
him.
I had to sit back and I had to come to it, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
said, you know what? I'm very thankful for Chris. And I told the family this. I said, I'm very thankful for Chris because Chris has captured some of our family's most precious memories.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the show, you see my grandfather and my grandmother dancing. I think that was at like their 65th wedding anniversary.
Yes. Yes.
Like we wouldn't have put that together,
Yeah.
on our own, but that's a video we will have for life.
Yeah.
And so he's captured some of our most precious moments in these past 10 years of him, doing videography and photography. And I am immensely grateful for that because a lot of the content that we have today, like, I mean, precious memories,
Yeah.
not just a picture, but like precious memories. That was a lot of it was him.
See, and that's a tremendous value, right? That he adds to.
Absolutely. I feel like everybody in the family has a place and a role.
For sure. So when it came to kind of figuring out his station in Braden Real Estate Group, right? And you guys kind of um got to the bottom of literally creating a document essentially that identified his
Mhm.
role, his responsibilities, all that stuff. Talk to me about the salary component, Nicole, right? Like obviously you said there had been a time where there had been sort of some a gap in maybe his participation or presence in the firm, but he was
Mhm.
obviously continued on payroll. Was that, a factor in like determining to maintain his salary like where it was, or talk to me about how you arrived there?
Well, I so what you said, right? That's the
Yeah.
working with family. Like you get paid regardless.
Yeah, yeah,
Like some stuff you get away with your family that you couldn't get away with in corporate America or with your boss, right? But
absolutely.
I think I may be telling a little bit of what's happening today. Right? We're kind of going into what happened today, right? But essentially, like when we sat down and looked at like what do other people that's making his type of salary, what are their roles and responsibilities? And honestly, people have approached us. A lot of people want to work with us.
Yeah, for sure.
So people have approached us basically saying, hey, here's what we offer, here's what I can do for you, and it's at this salary. We're like, wait a minute, that's what we pay Chris. you
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah,
so when we start looking at and comparing like what other people were charging for the services that Chris was getting paid for, being honest, we kind of felt like that we were underpaying him for some of the duties that he did.
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
mean, we were overpaying him.
overpaying,
Sorry,
yeah,
being honest, we felt like that we were overpaying him for some of the duties that he did.
yeah. Um, and so how did he? So will we see? Because obviously we can't go too far ahead, right? And we're only
I
at
know.
episode 4.
Yeah.
So as we watch this play out, will we see something? Will we see how he handles maybe the additional responsibility or handles the premise of there being additional responsibility if he signs the contract? We'll see that play out moving forward. Correct.
You will see some of that play out, right? And then honestly, you'll see Chris being Chris.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I mean, that might be a loaded thing to say, but you'll see Chris being Chris. You gotta watch it to see, right? But trust me, Chris be Chrissy, and
Yeah.
you'll see
I
that.
can't wait. Like again, it's so many dynamic personalities in this
Yeah.
show and in this family. Even in the opening credits, when I believe that's Jaquita's son Carter, when he's like, "Everybody say brain."
Isn't that
It's
the
just,
cutest thing ever?
it is so cute. And at 4 episodes in, like I'm looking forward to that every week when I watch the show. So I think
Yeah.
it reflects the personalities here, right? How do you think, or what do you think the extent though, right, of as you're working with family and as you admitted, there is an assumed grace that we give, relatives that we work with in a
Mhm,
professional
mhm,
capacity
mhm.
that may not be present with others. You even identified that your assistant is not a member of the Braden family, and you were grateful for that
Yeah.
different dynamic, right? So what do you think, Nicole, as CEO, co-CEO of Braden Real Estate Group, right? And one of the pillars in the family, what do you think the appropriate usage of the family card is when it comes to employing your relatives, right? Like how far does the grace go in your perspective, Nicole?
Well, that's kind of tough, right? Because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us, there's a lot of people in our family that works for our family. Jaquita works for the
Mhm.
brokerage. I think she does an amazing job at what she does. I don't want to do what she does. That's why she does it, and she does great at it.
That's
Aunt
right.
Nikki works for the brokerage. Jamisha and I, we work, with the brokerage. Jamisha's husband works in the brokerage. Monet, my sister, works in the brokerage.
Yeah.
And I feel like just being transparent, and he gonna hate me for saying this. I feel like the only one that kind of play that family card sometimes is Chris.
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel like everyone else, and I'm not saying Chris doesn't pull his weight because he
No.
does, right? He does pull his weight. He's done a great job for us, but he's the only one I would say that we've kind of had to address the roles and responsibilities opposed to everybody else. And I that's why I say a lot of people say they can't work with their family, but I feel like I love working with mine because we're also very unique and we all have a very totally different skill set. And those total skill sets and the uniqueness combined makes a great team.
So if you had to do it all over again, Nicole, right? Like if you
Mhm.
could, and this, I didn't even write this question when I wrote the other ones. This just came to me, right?
Okay.
So seeing the success you've seen, right? You're obviously a person who's driven. They call you Oscarine Jr., and we'll get to that in
OJ.
a minute, right? If you could replicate the success of the Braden Real Estate Group business model, right?
Mhm.
With non-family members, okay?
Hmm.
what would be your choice and why? Would you choose to do it again with family, or would you choose to have the same experience doing it with non-family members, and why?
I would 100% do it with family.
Yeah,
And that's just me, right? But
yeah,
I've worked in corporate America, right? I've been on teams where people were not my family members, and I've been in uncomfortable situations, and I kind of like didn't like it, and I felt
yeah,
like I couldn't be myself. I had to code switch and all of those
yeah.
things.
We know that
I
all
can
too
be
well.
myself with my family. Like you said, they call me Oscar Green Jr. I talk shit. I can talk shit to everybody and not get fired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
then that's the beauty of it. Now I think more so too, like I said, we understand our roles,
Yeah.
like we have been taught always work together. Even before it was Breaking Real Estate Group, whenever we had a family event, everybody show up, everybody has a job. I'm the family DJ,
Yeah.
Jaquita might be the ones to make on Charlotte, and Jaquita might be the ones to make the drinks.
Yeah.
Everybody had a
Yeah.
role, and we've always been that way. No matter what it is, everybody has a role and a place. And collectively, when we work together, it just works. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah. I think that's great. And I'm glad that you mentioned you would do it all over again with your family. I think that the respect that we see all of you have for Braden Real Estate Group, the continual mentioning of the fact that this is rooted in your business and it's from your
Yeah,
grandmother, your grandfather, y'all have a respect for the business. I think it's reflected in the success of it, right? So
yeah.
I totally get that. And I also think without getting too much into it, right? You talked about some challenges that you and your husband. You first of all, you showed your beautiful family, your husband and your beautiful daughter,
Thank you.
right? She's a cutie pie and
Thank
was so
you.
respectful, asking for her iPad while her and her great grandma was cooking. We love seeing those moments. What can you tell us about how you and your husband were able to like kind of face challenges, meet them head on, but find your way back to like a unified front as a family? What can you tell us about what got you to that point where you could come back together, not come back together as in being apart, but get on the
Yeah,
same page? You know what I
yeah,
mean? As far as
yeah.
the minutia of the
Hmm.
family.
Hmm. So, a couple of things. One, I think it is truly forgiveness.
Hmm.
And many times in marriages and relationships, I mean, even if it's not a marriage or somebody do something to you that you might not like, you think about it, right?
You do.
You did this to me. I didn't
Yeah.
like that. That didn't make me feel good. And so I do think there was a point in time in our marriage where there was a line of communication that had been broken.
Hmm.
And so I had to, for me personally, and I'm gonna speak for myself more than I speak for Larry. I
Okay.
had to forgive Larry for things that he's done in the past
Hmm.
so that we can move forward together. And when I think about it, like, I haven't had to deal with some of the things that other women have dealt with. When I say we had issues, it was just like, oh, we didn't communicate good, or
Yeah.
I didn't like that. You came home a little too late one night. Stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, those I always say, like, if something bothers your spouse, it's worth addressing.
Yeah.
And then sometimes in marriages, you're like, well, this bothers me. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. And
Yeah.
that brushing it off is not a big deal. That can be a big deal. And so, I really had to say, you know what, how do I get past some of these things, right? And it was forgiveness. Let me forgive him so that
Hmm.
they're not a constant reminder, so that I can move forward with him.
Yeah.
But now, like, I used to not tell them how I felt all the time. Now I tell them how I feel. You
Yeah.
know,
You
and
get it
that
off
kind of
your
goes back
chest.
to being an advocate for myself.
Hmm.
I mean, in any relationship now, the one thing I am going to do is be an advocate for myself, because I've learned when I don't tell people how I feel, or don't tell people how the things that they've done have affected me, and how or what they're doing affects me, it affects me even more.
Yep. Yep.
And that's internal that I have to deal with for myself. So now, just like, hey, I didn't like it when you did that. That didn't make me feel good. That made me feel uncomfortable. Just being an advocate for myself and speaking up for myself, and creating safe spaces with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And congratulations to you all. We want to see you all do this for many, many more years, forever to come, right?
But look, let me tell you something. Y'all taking me out. Okay, this reality TV is work. Okay, not WORK, WERK. Okay,
WERK, okay? To give you that
WERK.
work.
It is work. I have never worked so hard in my life.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Something that
But
and you
I
would
hope
think.
so too, right? But it's like I gotta be prepared for this.
I love it, and I love that it I love that you guys are having those kind of conversations on camera. I just think it's encouraging for other
Yeah.
families and other couples, especially seeing you balance motherhood, being the literal boss, co-owning this brokerage with your cousin who's like your sister, still being a great mom. You know what I'm saying? And balancing all of that, I think is exemplary. What are we going to see more? I know you introduced the idea of adopting and adding a child to your family, which again warmed hearts all across the world that
Thank
watch it.
you.
Are
Yeah.
are we going to see that journey play out as the show goes on, or where is that today with you guys?
So it's something that's still in the works, right?
Okay.
You will see the journey. You will also see some of the complexities of it,
Yeah.
of what that looks like, and everybody may not be on the same page about it,
Yeah.
So you'll see some of those things as well, right? But it is an ongoing journey. Matter of fact, I talked to some people regarding adoption last week, some things
Wow.
like that. I'll be honest, I am nervous about it
Yeah.
because I think the cameras have introduced a little bit of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a child to come into my household and the spotlight is on them. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And like,
Yep.
like they didn't ask for this,
Yep. Yep.
And then, I mean, and to be honest, some people in my family didn't ask for it either, but the cameras have introduced a little bit of complexity just for me in the way I think about like, okay, if I bring a child into my household, I'm bringing them into reality TV. Like I'm automatically bringing them from maybe one trauma to this could be trauma for them,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's introduced a little bit of a complexity around it, but it's my truth. I do want
Yeah.
to adopt a child. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we wish you the success with that
Thank
journey,
you.
expanding your family. So we got two more questions for you,
Okay.
right? And we'll get out of here. Now we know that they call you Oscarine Jr., and we see kind of the similarities in the approach to kind of your business acumen, right? And what you've
Hmm.
been able to get from your grandmother regarding that. Talk to me a little bit about how you're like your grandmother, and then can you tell me some ways where you may be different from your grandmother as well?
Yeah, I just so from a business acumen, of course,
Yeah.
right? But I think a lot of personality wise, I would like she don't like a lot of noise. I don't like a lot of noise. She's a little short tempered. Her
Yeah.
patience is a little short. So is mine. I think but also too, we very much so ride or die for our families, and
Yes.
I think that we are very much so protectors of our
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that in her, and then as I've grown, I start to see a lot of that in me. Like we feel like we have to be the ones to step up and fix it all for everybody and make it perfect for them, and you know, and so that's kind of like why we're a lot of like we love hard for our family. We like we gonna go to bat. Like ain't nobody look. Don't come in here. Don't start none.
That's
Won't be
right.
none.
That's
Like,
right.
and that's one thing I can't say. I think grandmother, when I say ride or die for her family, she is a ride or die for her
Yeah.
family, and she's also very proud of us.
Yeah.
She's extremely proud of us. She tells the world about us.
Yeah.
When the show dropped, she doesn't have electronics, right? But or though she doesn't have like a smartphone. I think she still
Right.
has like a
Right.
flip phone, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
she went around the beauty shop, which she still
Yeah.
owns today, right? She took
Yep.
Monet's phone and told Monet to put the trailer on and went around to everybody in the beauty shop and like,
Showing
look,
them
look, 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 and then like when we
proud.
did our press tours and stuff like that, we were on the news. Like they would call us and tell us how, she would be like screaming out to the neighbors, like, cut your TV on, is your TV on? Like, like, so of course, just extremely proud, but how we are different. Ooh, that's a good question. I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. So you
I don't
really
know.
are on your OJ, huh?
Yeah, there's so many similarities. I never really sat to think about like how we are different. Of course, we're different in some ways. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? I will say this. Like I'm a really glamour girl. She just like I'm down with whatever.
Yeah.
She's always gonna be presentable, but she doesn't have to be the blah blah bang
Yeah.
blah blah boom.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I guess that's the way that that we're different. We both get up extremely early.
Yeah. 4 a.m.
But
for you, right?
4:30.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 4:30 is about as early as I can do it. But yeah, we both and I got that, that I got that actually from her and my dad. I think that was one thing that
Wow.
was passed down. I'll never forget when we used to spend the night at her house during the weekday because we all went to her daycare as little children. You
Mm-hmm.
know, she would be up in the bathroom, like the whole house would be sleeping. She would be up in the bathroom at the crack of dawn, getting ready to go to work, you
Yeah.
know, and I would just wake up and look at it. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what's up. We see it's working though, because again, that success is continuing from generations to generations. So it obviously worked. Last question, Nicole, right? And this
Okay.
is something I thought of immediately as soon as I saw it on the show. When you
Okay.
and Jaquita were kicking it, when you went to have the conversation with Chris about his contract, you guys discussed Caramel's name, and Jaquita told you that that was her stripper name. We'll call it her alter ego, right? So
Please.
what's yours? What's your alter ego? What's your name?
Oh,
Pick the name for
oh,
yours.
you know,
What's
I
Nicole's alter ego?
so people on the show know me as Nicole, right?
Mhm.
But a lot of people in just like the social media world and everything else knows me as Nikki.
That's what
You
your
know?
friend Solange
Mhm.
called you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yep,
yeah, yeah.
yep.
So you hear it's funny because now when they say Nikki, are they talking about me or are they talking about Aunt Nikki?
Aunt Nikki, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Nicole is the subtle, sweet, fun loving. Nikki is the bad bitch. Okay. you know?
We love it. We're gonna see Nikki gonna make a few appearances this season, right?
Nikki does make a few appearances this season, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll love her just as much as we love your whole family, Nicole.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much for kicking it with us today. And we look forward to many more seasons of Family Empire Houston and getting to know all the generations G1, 2, 3, 4. Let it keep going forever, right? So
Yes.
we look forward to it, Nicole, and we'll check you guys out every week on OWN. We look forward to it.
Thank
Anything you want to say
you.
to the viewers or to the audience before we get
I,
out of here?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say again, I'm immensely grateful and thankful that, you guys see something in us that honestly, I don't even think we saw in ourselves.
Yeah,
So I mean, you guys rock with us the long way. I hope that we inspire you to what I like to say is start the conversation.
that's right.
And I say that amongst Black families because there's so many conversations that need to be had that's not happening. Where and whatever that conversation is, right? For us, I think it was a little bit of what's going on with the dynamics of my sister and that situation. How are we going to continue to build upon our family's legacy? What happens to when unfortunate? It's unfortunate, but eventually, people are not here forever. So what
Yeah.
happens when they move on? How are we going to continue our family unit work? Whatever the plan is, right?
Yep.
So that is what I want to leave you guys with. Start the conversation, whatever that conversation is.
That's right. Wise words coming from the CEO, baby, of Braden Real Estate Group. You better ask somebody, and you better ask somebody in Houston. Okay.
Hmm.
Great getting to know you, Nicole. Hopefully we get to chat again before the season is out.
All right, Dustin. Thank you guys. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. All right. Take
Bye.
care, Nicole.